Hello! I already reviewed first of two Campfire Audio paleontologic releases, Memos, interesting model for those who like weighty and massive sound, and today it's time to talk about the second of two, it's Holocene. And not surprisingly, it's tuned to be complete polar opposite to the Memos. Mammoth was a triple driver hybrid model, this is triple driver pure balanced armature. Here used some custom drivers, also used 3D printed chamber, and as a result Campfire Audio created totally different tuning. Price is $650, not the most affordable one, but actually not the most expensive ones in the modern in-ear monitors world. And actually, even color hints what model it's called to replace in the company's model lineup. If you remember, Mammoth was blue, and that hinted that it was created as a successor of Polaris, and brown color here hints that it's a replacement for their one of the first their models, Jupiter. Is it so? Let's find out in this review. Package is traditional for the Campfire Audio. You can see that paper wrap with seal. I already removed it, and actually unpacking part is totally traditional for the Campfire Audio. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. I'm adding timestamps to the video, so if you want to skip it, go for it. Nice case made of recycled plastic that was gathered in the ocean, and the company's logo and the zipper is glowing in the dark. They started that experiments with glow in the dark design elements. I'm not sure what is the benefit of that, but it looks pretty attractive. And here is the stock cable and earpieces themselves in the traditional double black pouch. Also, here is manual and warranty card, and many of you already know this set of accessories that we will see here. So, final audio tips, 5 pair of them, and company's logo pin in the second pouch. Let's remove the unnecessary parts. In the box, here is a cleaning tool and papers for the final audio type E tips, and also you'll get 3 pair of foams and 3 pair of regular black silicone single flange tips. Still not sure who needs them, but it's better to have extra tips than don't have them at all. I prefer final audio tips in any cases, and it's the case when I'm confident that almost everyone prefers them too. 2 stripes of Velcro, some traditions must be kept. And in terms of design, they definitely remind Jupiter a little bit. Nice, interesting brownish color and the traditional shape. Angled with a lot of bevels and so on. First versions of this case were average in terms of comfort, but since that Campfire Audio managed to improve it drastically. All sharp edges that face your ears are smoothed, they have more extended spout going deeper into your ear, so wearing comfort is really nice, and shells are pretty small, so they're fitting nicely into ears, and looks pretty good in my opinion with this combination of black bolts and brown color. Spouts have slightly above average length, and they have proper angle to be fitting nicely into ears, and they give about average sound isolation. It will be enough for noisy transport, for noisy street or for public transport. A lip for holding the tips is present here, and the signature sophisticated grill, showing that Campfire Audio knows how to work with materials. Logo glows in the dark, and also connectors on cable is also have that glow in the dark treatment. Here used MMCX connectors, really tightly fitting, traditional beryllium plated connectors to improve the durability, so nice and strong hold. Cable is Campfire Audio traditional smoky leads, but now with that glowing element, so they called it smoky leads. There are ear hooks, but without memory wire effect, and the cable itself nice. It's comfortable, it's soft, almost not tangling, not getting hard when it's cold outside. Pretty good in terms of wearing comfort. Here is a splitter with chin slider, and it goes down to that angled jack, and you already guessed that it also glows in the dark, but probably camera doesn't show it, but it do that. I'm not sure why this glow in the dark thing is made here, but at least you can easily find in the night where are your earphones. But anyway, as you can see, in terms of package, presentation, accessory set and all other stuff, model is done on the traditional for the company high level. And of course about the sound, I gave them 48 hours of burn-in, but balanced armatures really rarely changes during the burn-in, and this model is not an exception, so no need in extended burn-in process for them. Let's have a player on the table to show some examples, and as you can see I use my Aston Kern Ultima because this model is tuned to be on the audiophiliac side of things. It's pretty natural, almost linear, with slightly recessed upper mids and lower treble, but with spike in the upper treble to compensate sound a little bit, so it gives a pretty engaging and interesting signature. Low frequencies are almost linear, goes deep to the lowest possible levels of bass, and shows pretty good tightness and impact, but it's not accented, so it's not the model for those who need bump in the low frequencies. And also keep in mind that it's a balanced armatures. Here definitely used some balanced armature woofer because weight is pretty nice here, but at the same time it's not the dynamic driver type of representation. It's a bit faster than dynamic drivers and more saturated with small nuances and details, focusing them a bit more, and that gives a really good representation for the acoustic instruments, for the some timbre-rich instruments that goes to the low frequency domains. They sounding really natural, and they really integrated well in the overall tune. There is no attempts to push them forward or to hide them or something like that. Really good performance with acoustic instruments. Or actually, I mean not acoustic, let's name them real instruments. Synthesized low frequencies also sounds nice, but if you have some tracks that requires good big amount of low frequencies, probably you need to consider some hybrid model. These earphones are tuned first of all for those who need additional layer of realism. But at the same time I enjoyed electronic music in my collection like Juno Reactor and other things here. But low frequencies are not boosted, so keep that in mind. And I've selected examples from different test track and samplers, and first one it's HD Tracks 2020 high-res sample. Actually I recommend you these samplers, you can download them for free. It's Chris Jones, track named No Sanctuary here, and it has nice good bass, really saturated and with interesting resonance in the low frequencies and a lot of overtones, and this model delivers it nicely. Mid frequencies are really well balanced here too. Actually they are balancing between all that typical types of tuning. There is zero added weight here of course, and at the same time the mids are detailed, but they're not trying to boost that micro contrast, they're not trying to sound like typical balanced armatures, because they don't add weight, but also they not hide it like some armatures does. and also they not boosting micro contrast, they don't boost macro dynamics, so really good balance, and basically it's a model that plays everything as is without coloration. And actually that makes them pretty critical for the quality of records and for the source, because they won't try to correct anything. So if something is lost in the mix or something, there are some issues with mastering, they will show it. But at the same time, on the properly mastered tracks, they will deliver good performance, nice realistic instruments and so on. And what is interesting here, they don't have that typical bump in the upper mids, they don't trying to push that part forward, so they sounding a bit less fun, bit less coloring, bit less colored, but at the same time with good tracks they sound more realistic and more natural. Stage is pretty big, actually really close to some high-end models, close to Andromeda, not absolutely same, but close. So in terms of staging, Campfire Audio did another good work here. And as an example for the mid frequencies, I've got another test track, and it's Dr. Chesky Ultimate Headphone Demonstration Disc, and Alexis Cole, Whippoorwill, or something like that. Sorry, really hard to even to read. I'm not speaking about the pronunciation too. Even so, really good example of nice female vocal with close to binaural type of recording, and that gives huge immersive stage that this earphones definitely delivers without any compromises, and also they sound really rich with all overtones of that great vocal. And thanks to that absent boost in the upper mid, they're not pushing the vocal too forward like some models does. And treble. Lower part of treble is slightly recessed, but thanks to the balanced armatures here, it's not sound muffled or veiled or something like that. It's just a nice, well-balanced balanced armature type of treble, pun intended here. So they are fast in attacks and decay, sounding lightweight, clean and crisp. Not sharp, at least for me, because they have a spike at the 9-10 kHz area. If you're sensitive in that particular area, they can be sharp to you, but for me it's not an issue. Is that accent just adding a bit of airiness and adding a bit more extension. It's above average here. Layering is really basic, but at the same time it's present and done correctly. Also nice overtone saturation, so really well tuned treble fitting the overall tuning of this model, not trying to grab too much attention, but at the same time it's not recessed, veiled or something like that. And as an example, really great track from another test CD, it's David Roth, Rise We Will. I think everyone heard this song, and it's a great performance, really emotional with good accompaniment and with a lot of percussion, strings and many stuff that goes to the treble area that these earphones renders nicely. And in terms of source, they are pretty sensitive, traditional for the Campfire Audio, so it's better to select something with darker background. And in terms of sources, they require player of at least mid-level, because it's a model that can be probably considered as audiophilic, maybe a bit more closer to entry-level audiophilic, but technical with good performance, and that means that they require appropriate source to show the full potential. And probably the best pairings for them, it's the players from the upper mid segment, like FIO M11 Plus, Shanling M6 Pro 2020, Hybe R6 New, and so on. And of course it's really a matter of your preferences here, because they are natural, and that means that own signature of player will impact their sound. Speaking about the compressions, they indeed close to the Jupiter, but actually fixing that a bit odd overlap of the mids and treble area, so they sounding a bit more natural and pushing that sound a bit forward. What we've got, there are a lot of models in this price tier. For example, I don't know, Dunu's SA6. Dunu is more weighty, bit more thick in terms of sound. This one is more lightweight, and it's a different type of representation. Dunu is more organic, while this one is a bit more monitoring, but at the same time it's not cold or super analytical. What we've got in this price tier, for example, Dunu's also EST 112, they have more extended treble, but at the same time sounding a bit more sharp and aggressive in the treble area, and a bit slower in the low frequencies. And Campfire Audio Andromeda, actually it's more fun, more engaging, with more accent on the lows in the treble area, and more technical, with better treble rendering and with bit better bass performance and so on. Probably I missed a lot of other models too, so feel free to ask if you need some additional comparisons. If I did comparisons, I will add them. But to summarize everything, it's a really good addition to the Campfire Audio lineup, because it's a model that allows people to try so-called audiophilic representation without spending more than $1,000 for the Andromeda. For almost half of price, you'll get the idea of what high-end sound gives you. Not at the, of course, high-end models will sound more natural, more refined, but this one is like a kind of tester. But maybe it's not correct to consider it as a tester, because for many people it's a model that will just satisfy them and will stay with them for the rest of their audiophilic life. But you know, this journey is really hard to stop. You buying some $200 model and you think, oh okay, that sounds nice, but then you trying something in the $600 area or so, and then you start thinking about $1,000 and on and on. But Holocene is a really good performer with natural and at the same time technical sound, but not overdoing that. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a nice day.